Scene 52, take 1.
My name is Drew Lesso, and this here is Maximus Doug. And I'm originally from Strabane, Pennsylvania, via Cologne, Germany, where I lived for 6 years, working with world-famous composer Karl-Heinz Stockhausen. I was one of his students. In 1976, I moved to Los Angeles.
Welcome to L.A.
And had an apartment in Hollywood for the first year, and then I heard about downtown. I heard that artists were moving into warehouse space. I was married at the time. My wife was a fashion designer, and I'm a composer. I do visual work as well, so we decided to move downtown because we both needed space. The space we found was at 360 South Los Angeles Street. That building is gone now. We were on the 3rd floor. We took the whole floor. I think it was 5 cents a square foot, so it was $500 a month. And we divided it in fourths. Everybody built their own walls, and then we rented out the 2 other spaces for 11 cents a square foot. So I've never paid rent the whole time I've lived in Los Angeles. It was very sparse. There was small pockets of artists here and there. There were a couple of us on Los Angeles Street. Charlie Crist moved in on the 2nd floor, who was really a great visual artist. He did the first show at Lace, when Lace was on Industrial Street. Andy Wilf was one of my tenants as well for a while. You know, George Rollins was here in his building. When I first moved here, Al's Bar wasn't even running at that point. And the American Hotel wasn't running. As a matter of fact, the American Hotel was one of the spaces I looked at originally to rent. We did a walkthrough of the American Hotel. We didn't think it was going to work out for us because we wanted something that could be divided like into 4 or 5 spaces. We thought it would be a lot more manageable. More and more people started coming downtown. I put together a second project at 2nd and Rose. And we had about 70,000 square feet on the 2nd and 3rd floors, 4 separate buildings on the same block. It was an unusual building, but I found 2 dentists, and these 2 guys put up the money and signed the lease, and I ended up managing the whole space. I write varied music. But the music that I enjoy writing the most and that takes me the most time to write would be my harmonic computer music. It's where I write a computer program that generates the music. I'm not using software that's already created. I program in Pascal. Sometimes I use BASIC as well. And I write the actual code that produces a music. I can be coding for up to 6 months before I finally get something done. And they're usually based on visual elements. So I use weights and measures, color mixing, a lot of geometry in order to write the music that I do. That's my most favorite music to write. And then the other music I write are mainly collaborative. And a lot of those collaborations are through people I've met in downtown Los Angeles. One of my favorite collaborators was Dr. Mongo, Tari Boo Boo. He's a poet, he's a street poet. I love working with him. I met him one night crossing Alameda. He said, "Gee, can I recite a poem for you?"
Now that you're here, make yourself at home. I'll let it be known I am the hoodoo man.
I invited him in my studio and started writing music for his poetry. And I just struck up a friendship with him immediately. I realized this gentleman is talented. He wrote a series of poems called Keeping Company with Crackheads. What he wanted to find out was exactly what makes them tick. And so he lived in a crack house for 6 months. And he wasn't doing crack. And he wrote a whole series of poems. And he also did an art show at a gallery in Atwater. So he had this whole show of crack paraphernalia, all kinds of interesting things about that. He had a crack pipe in his pocket. And he threw the pipe out of his pocket, and the police saw that as they were pulling up. And so they grabbed him. I mean, I guess the pipe did have crack in it. I went over and bailed him out. I believe I put up my car for it. And I got the whole story from him. And I said, we got to do something about this because you're going to go to jail for life. He was up for third strike because he had 2 other counts of things that he had done. I got together with my friend Tom Nagano, TK, and we put together a fundraiser at Todd Litchkoff's space on 3rd Street. And probably about 120 people showed up. And everybody donated some money for Dr. Mongo, because he definitely needed money. Then the trial came up, and different people from the community made statements about Dr. Mongo. All positive, everything positive, because he's a poet. He was known in the community. There was an article in the LA Reader, and that was something that was also shown to the judge at the time. And so the judge excused him and believed his story. And the prosecutor was just trying to say, well, here's just another crackhead, which he wasn't. So we got him out that time. He was lucky. I met Joel Bloom the day he rolled into town. I said, hi, I'm Drew Lesso. He said, hi, I'm Joel Bloom. I said, what do you do, Joel? Because I always wanted to know what everybody did. He said, well, I'm a thespian. He was just very exuberant and very happy to be in LA. And he was here to get involved with theater in any way he could. He moved right into the American Hotel, became a fixture right away. And a number of years passed. And I had founded an organization, LARABA, Los Angeles River Artist and Business Association. And I had served as its president for 3 years, and I was burned out. I ran into Joel, and I said, Joel, how would you like to run for the president of LARABA? I was looking for somebody to take it over. Joel said, well, I don't know about that. He said, I don't think I'm so interested in politics. And I convinced him to run for the president. And then we all know what happened. He got extremely involved in politics. To the point that had he lived, he would have been a council person, I'm sure. Amazing how he took to that. Bloom's General Store. How can you have a general store without fruit and vegetables? It just remained a store where you could buy cigars and cigarettes and candy and some canned goods, some toilet paper and lots of magazines. We used to banter at each other. When someone new would come into the neighborhood, then we would jump on them too, He would just say, hey, you, what do you want in here? If you're going to buy anything, then get out of here. He was a lot rougher than I was on people. I would just joke around. He was something. At this point in time, everything just exists in our minds. It's kind of nebulous. It only has significance to those who have lived in this community and experienced this. Al's Bar was a focal point. I think people knew about Al's Bar as far away as Paris, France. So I know that there is some significance here. It's in the memories of people from all around the world. It's been a really great experience just watching the people, the evolution of people over the years. That's really been exciting. Of course, now I'm leaving the community myself. I bought a 4,500 square foot warehouse with a house built right into it in the middle of the forest. I am planning to write a few books, one for children and one for adults on harmonics. And I just need the time to stretch myself out. I can't do it here anymore. This community is not so much an arts district as I see it now, especially with all the new units that are being planned. An interesting community nonetheless. Who knows, maybe in 20 years this will still be the Arts District. Wouldn't it be nice, actually, if we were still the Arts District 20 years from now?
Cut.